Morning, morning, morning. How are we all doing? The Adventure Bike Riders Festival is upon us. I have literally got today and I ride tomorrow. Custard still isn't fixed. So yesterday I did a 140-mile round trip to go and see Mr. Martin Trafford and go and get this little cable off him. Which was fantastic, Martin. Thank you ever so much for making that up. Hopefully, once I get this on, it's going to solve all Custard's issues. But yeah, 140-mile round trip after work. So this was like, I think I got up to Martin's about 9 o'clock at night and got home at about 10:30. But hopefully this will solve the problem and it will be worth it. On top of that, I've got to get this cable back on. I've got to get Custard running. And then I've got to pack as well. So this little video will be just a little bit of an update on fixing Custard. And then I will also do a bit of packing as well. I did have quite a lot of people asking me about how I pack for different trips and things like that, especially after my Dragon Rally video. So I thought I'd just do a little bit on that because, to be honest with you, with me I pack very differently depending on what I'm doing. So for example, if I go on an off-road trip, so when I go on the Tet and we're moving from campsite to campsite to campsite, I tend to take soft panniers. Reason for taking soft panniers is that, you know, if I fall off, I don't want to catch my ankles on them, don't want to potentially risk breaking a leg or something like that. And that's just my take on it. Whereas if I'm going to set up a base camp, such as ABR for example, and we're going to move out from there each day or whatever, I tend to take hard panniers. Reason for this is, as we all know, I'm a cheapskate. I am a cheapskate. I like doing things on the cheap. And when it comes down to packing and stuff like that, if you're doing things on the cheap, you don't necessarily get like the best of the best all the time. So you don't get the lightest weight equipment, you don't get the smallest equipment. There's always a trade-off with cheaper things usually being bigger and bulkier. I don't really care. The bike's designed to carry 2 people, so I'm not going to put a 13 stone load of kit on the back of my bike. It's not going to happen. So if it's bigger and bulkier, I don't really mind personally. I know it's a little bit of extra weight to pick up, but I don't tend to ride solo that often, so it's not really a big issue for me. But yeah, we'll go through that in a bit. But for now, let's get this on and let's get Custard fixed. Told you a little bit of a fib about this cable the other day. I said I thought it was something to do with the ignition system. Apparently it's not. Apparently this cable feeds the regulator, and it tells the regulator what the battery voltage is, and then the regulator knows what voltage it should be putting out to the bike. So I don't know whether my starting issue was anything to do with this or was anything to do with this. So I'll strip that down later on and have a look, but it'd be interesting to see. So yeah, I've just crimped that on there. I am going to put a double solder on it as well, just to keep it in place. That's going to go direct to battery, and then I'm going to put on, ooh, there it is, and then put the new cable on as well. So that will just sit under there on the battery terminals. Yes, I have, you donut. Ooh, oops. Note to self, don't short out your battery. So, in theory now, I fixed that. Regulator wires back on. So in theory now, providing that just shorting out a battery didn't fry it. Fingers crossed and toes crossed and everything else crossed, we have life. I'm really nervous. This has got to work. Right, we have ignition, we have lights. Let's wiggle that. Nothing, fingers crossed, seems to be not doing what it should be doing. Come on, Custard, you old Gert. I haven't been started for a while now, have you? So this is the next thing. Yes then! Go on, Custard. Let's talk packing then very quickly. So, like I said before, I pack very differently depending on what I'm doing. If it's an off-road trip where we're bouncing from campsite to campsite, I tend to use soft panniers. And again, I go quite cheap. I use the Lomo large modular panniers, which are really good. I think they're about 70 quid for the pair, which is dirt cheap, and they're dirt waterproof as well. Dirt waterproof? Perfectly waterproof, should I say. But then when I do something like ABR, for example, or Dragon Rally or whatever, where we're at one campsite and then we sort of filter about from there, or we're there for the weekend or whatnot, then I take my hard panniers. And the types of things that I take with me differ as well. So there's a lot of crossover with what I take, but then there's a lot of differences as well. So if we're off-roading, then I will literally only take stuff for myself. I don't in terms of cooking equipment and things like that. I'll just serve myself and that's it. If we're going to a campsite or something like that and having a base, then I tend to take a little bit more gear because I tend to sort of help people out, or my friend and I will all share bits and bobs. So in this instance, because I'll be doing the cooking or providing the cooking stuff for both me and a friend, I've got a little bit more cooking type stuff than I normally would. When I'm on my own then, I normally use this, which is a little Vango stove. It's a brilliant piece of kit. It's dead lightweight, packs down really small, and it boils water rapid. It's very quick at boiling, especially when you couple it with something like the Coleman's Performance Gas. And it was really inexpensive. I think £25 from Go Outdoors, something like that. But I've had that Vango one. I've had that for 12 years now, something like that, 10, 12 years. So I've had it a long time, and I think £25 is relatively inexpensive, to be fair. And it's lasted me all that time, and it's still going. So that, in my eyes, was a really good buy. I carry normally a single can with me. These are about £6 a can. And on this Vango stove, they last ages. I have got one in there, so I normally store that in there. And I only normally take one, but I'm taking two this time because that one's nearly empty, and I think it'll probably run out on me. So rather than waste it, I'll just finish that and then use that one. Like I said, I'm cooking for more than one of us though this time, so that's why I do that. This was a cheap knockoff jet boil. So as you can see at the bottom, look, it's got the parts where it used to go onto the stovetop and click in place. I think this was from Planet Bikes, and it was like, again, I think it's about 30 quid or 20 quid or something like that. And it was so cheap compared with the standard jet boil you can get. Now, I must admit, the burner that you used to have, which normally, used to go on there and then you click that into it, the burner did melt itself and caused a gassing off issue and nearly blew up, which was a little bit scary. But I don't know what you want to call it, a billy can or whatever, but the pot itself is fantastic, and this has lasted for ages. And again, with the heat, don't know what you want to call it, the heat dispenser or whatever, the fins, it boils water really quick. But I do all sorts in it. I boil water in it, I cook rice in it, I've made chili out of it, I've made spag bowls, all sorts of stuff. But I think it's about 1 litre capacity, so it's quite substantial. And like I say, I normally just carry my gas in there, look. But you have to put it in a bag to stop it rattling about and stop it scratching the pot as well, to be fair. So there's that. Ridge Monkey. So this is a Ridge Monkey XL. Quite well known in the fishing world. But these things are brilliant for what they are. They're just a Teflon coated griddle in essence. Don't need any oil with it. You can chuck your sausages in there. You can, you know, pretty much cook whatever you want in it. I've cooked steak in it. I've done steak for dinner. Sausages, bacon, eggs. You can do a full breakfast on it. Again, it's just a really versatile piece of kit that wasn't very expensive. I think this again was around £30, something like that, at the time of buying it. And again, I've had it years. I've had this, I don't know, about 8 years now, something like that, and it's really well used. It's abused, loved, used. It comes everywhere with me. I use it on my hot tent stove. I can use it on the Van Gogh stove. I can put it in a fire. Do whatever with it really, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant for cooking. And again, cheap but lasts a long time. Then I've just got some random pots and pans. So these ones are, don't know if you can see it, they are Wind Sea, and they're basically AliExpress specials. They're off AliExpress, they're dirt cheap. I think the set cost me, well, I'd say the set, it was just this top one and this bottom one. £9, something like that, £7. Dirt cheap. And again, it's got the same sort of bottom as this, so it cooks really well, it disperses the heat, and they're fantastic, and they're really lightweight. They're quite bulky, however, like I say, because I'm cooking for more than one of us, that's why I'm taking those along with me, because I can do all sorts in there. But again, £7, £9, less than a tenner, less than £10 off AliExpress. They are brilliant. This one, so this is, if you can see that, it's fire maple. And again, I bought this because they were relatively cheap, but it's all utensils and things that you'd want and that you'd need. So it's got your chopping board, it's got your different utensils, zip pocket down there for herbs and spices, etc. And again, I got this, I can't remember how much it was. This was actually a present. This was for Christmas, I think. The wife got it me. But it's nice and neat. It packs down relatively small. But if you like camp cooking and you like doing things out in the open and stuff like I do, that, again, it's another good buy. It's something that I should have bought a long time ago, and it's well worth it. Cooking wise, there's not really much more to it than that. Obviously, I've got a couple of plates, knife, fork, spoon, just a bog standard, dirt cheap, £2, whatever it was, from Go Outdoors or Blacks or whatever it was back in the day. Again, I have had this set, I must have had these 20 years now, because I had these when I was a kid, when I did scouts and air cadets and that kind of stuff. So, you know, they last and they're cheap. So why would you want to spend more on something ridiculously expensive? It's there, isn't it? A couple of plates. I know you can get fold down plates and stuff, but these are bamboo, so they're eco-friendly, and also they're dead light. They don't take up much space. Just slot them in somewhere and you're done, aren't you? Coffee mug. Gotta have a big coffee mug. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Wow, it's massive," but I like me coffee. I need me coffee in the morning, otherwise I get grumpy. But I use it for juice and water and everything as well, so I always have a big one. And to be fair, that just goes in my side pouch on the bike, so it don't take up any space really. It's just a bit of empty dead space, and in it goes. So I can't complain about that. Kit wise then, nobody wants to see me pants and socks, but here you go. So I have a general rule. If I'm going away for one day, I'll just take, you know, I won't bother taking a spare pair of clothes. If I'm going away for one night, 2 days, then I will always take a spare pair of clothes. And I kind of work on the assumption of, if I'm going away for 2 days, I'll take one spare pair. If I'm going away for 3 days, I'll take 2 spare pairs, and things like that. So in this instance, I'm going away Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Obviously I don't need Thursday's clothes because I'll be in those anyway. So I need Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's 3 sets of clothes. and then I always take 2 spares, and by 2 spares I just mean t-shirt, pants, socks, that kind of thing. At ABR it's going to be very hot, so we're going to get very muggy. We're going to get really dirty because the trail is very dusty. There's lots of mud bogs and fun like that, so that's why I tend to take spares. There's a lot of people out there which travel around the world and just ride and literally only take like 5 sets of clothes, and they tend to wash them on the road and stuff like that, which is great. If that's what you're doing, then that's fantastic. I don't have that luxury at somewhere like ABR, and I like to change my t-shirt in the evening and chill out and stuff, so that's why I take the spare bit of clothes. What I do though, dear me, such a child. So what I do every time, I won't say it again. What I do is, so everything's going in the panniers. My panniers aren't particularly waterproof. They're, I don't know what they are. They secondhand. I bought them years ago. Never ended up using them on my Himalayan, but have made them to use on my Funduro. So what I tend to do is I've got a 50 litre waterproof dry sack, so I just use it as a liner, and that goes in my pannier, and then everything else goes within there. These again, they're Euro hike. They're a bit thicker and a bit more bulky than something more expensive, but I don't care. They're cheap. They do the job. I think less than a tenner each, something like that. It might have even been a tenner for both. I can't remember, but yeah, dirt cheap and easy to use. What I do though is, for example, I've then got several of these other ones. So I've got a 5 litre OEX and I can get it out. And a 10 litre OEX. And these are proper dry sacks. The only issue with these is though they're really thin, so you have to be careful what you put in them or what you put near them. But what I do is, in the 5 litre one, I put all my things like my pants and socks and what have you, all go in that one. So I can just grab them out and I know that they're there. And then in the big one, in the 10 litre one, that's where I put things like, I put my t-shirts in there, I'll put my shorts in there, just my very quick grab things that I need, and I don't want to be faffing around trying to find them all, because your pants and socks all roll up everywhere and disappear, don't they? So that's what I do with those, and it just keeps things a little bit more organised when you're dumping it all in here. What I tend to do between my panniers is split them up, so I tend to have like my clothes pannier on one side and then my cooking pannier on the other side. I try to match the weight up as best as possible, so for example my clothes tend to be lighter than all the cooking equipment and food. So all my camera gear, so my drone for example, I've got a DJI Mavic, so I'll take that with me. That will go in with my clothes. So one, it protects it a bit more, but two, it adds a little bit more weight to even it up on that side. The GoPro stuff I tend to just take in my day sack with me because it's there, I need it quicker. This I tend to have to faff around with and that, so it's a little bit more irritating. But that's the kind of thing that I do with them. So my rule of thumb is, like I say, 2 days I'll take 1 spare pair of clothes, 3 days I'll take 2 spare pair of clothes, 4 days, three spare, 5 days, 4 spare. It's that kind of thing, but you have to play it by ear and what you prefer and what you want to do at the end of the day. Always take some shorts because they're nice and easy to chill out in, and then just a pair of joggers for when it cools down in the evening. Sleeping system wise then, so and again with sleep systems and stuff, I didn't realise until I bought a new sleeping bag recently how expensive stuff is. I mean, just your bog standard sleeping bag has gone through the roof in cost recently. So what I did was I actually went to a military surplus and bought some ex-British Army modular sleeping bag. So it came with a medium weight cold weather bag, which is a really big thick mummy style bag. It came with a lightweight jungle rectangular sleeping bag, and then it come with a liner as well, but I don't like the cotton liner. So for ABR, because it's going to be warm, I'm taking my lightweight, small, teeny tiny British military jungle sack. Even though that's hot weather, it has been cooling down at night. I was out there, I was on a fire call last night, and it got 4 o'clock in the morning, it really chilled off. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it chilled off. So I've also got a fleecy liner for it. Yes, okay, look, it's big and bulky, it's absolutely massive. I'm sure you can buy silk liners and things which are warm, but again, they're expensive. I don't have that kind of money, and I'm going to a single base and I'm just setting up and that's it for the weekend, so I don't really mind, to be honest. And I could probably pack it a lot smaller than that, but I can't be bothered. But that's that, so that's my sleeping bag. If it does cool off, I can stick the fleecy liner in and I'm all good to go. And then this is another big item. So this is my roll mat. It's a Composure XLM high gear one. So again, it's dirt cheap. It's not anything expensive. I think it was about £40. And this is a self-inflating 7.5, I think. 7.3 thermal rating. Anything above 7 is technically classified as Arctic as far as I'm aware. But it's quite thick. It's about that thick. So I like to be comfortable, but at the same time, I haven't got a lot of money to spend. So as I said before, you have to sacrifice something. That for me is, I think it's 7 centimeters thick. It's really nice and warm. It self-inflates, so I just chuck it out and leave it. And it's been brilliant so far. I've used it all through November, December and January, and then Dragon Rally in February. And I was toasty warm. I never had any issues with it. But like I said, it's bulky. I mean, look at it. It's massive. But that's the trade-off you've got to make. 40 quid. When I looked at other stuff similar, I can't remember the names of all the fancy gear, but the fancy gear was like well over £100. Some of the mats were even like 200 quid for a small, tiny, lightweight mat thing that you can pack smaller than that. I ain't got 200 quid and I don't do it that often, so that'll do. Chuck it on the back of the bike, strap it down, job's a good one. It ain't very heavy, it's just bulky. But like I say, it works, it's more comfortable for me. I have a really bad back and that solves the problem for me. That's pretty much it, to be fair. I mean, other bits and bobs, I've got travel towels, just a large fleecy travel towel which packs down quite small, which is nice. And then an old helmet bag which I stick all my toiletries in, so toothbrush, some hay fever tablets, things like that, sun cream, bog roll, that kind of stuff. But I put it in that because, you know, at the end of the day, it packs down really small and you can squeeze it in somewhere, and it was free. Who puts a lid in a helmet bag realistically? Let's be honest, come on. So, you know, it works and it was free, so why not? You may as well. May as well. And that's about it really. I don't think there's much more to it than that. I just kind of go with it. I just chuck it all in. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. I learn for next time. I don't have any majorly rigid, prescriptive way of doing things. I keep it simple. I keep it cheap. Yeah, I sacrifice a little bit of space and bulk because of the size of things, but do you know what? It works, and it's worked for me for years, and if it can work for you too, as a bit of a bonus. You don't have to spend mass amounts of money to get out there and have an adventure. You really don't.